Be Tony Danza too.
I would
Holding
be
the
okay
poster
with
of
that.
Tony
We are
Danza.
live, everybody. We are live. Welcome to Cloud Conversations Live Wellbeing Edition. And this is something that we've been wanting to do on the channel for a little while now and just get some people together. You're more than welcome to join. If you're watching live on YouTube, there is a link in the top which will get you into this StreamYard. Come and join us. Come and have a chat. The aim of this is to talk about all things mental health, about well-being, about anxiety, about neurodiversity, any sort of these topics that are relevant to you and have touched you. So I will just put a little disclaimer out there for those of you who may not be aware. You are live on the internet. This is being recorded. It will be out there on YouTube. So if you're not comfortable talking about these sort of sensitive subjects in the public domain, then maybe you just want to listen and lurk and chat to us offline. And you may not necessarily be lucky enough to have an employer who is sensitive to these sort of subjects. So do think carefully, but we encourage those of you who are comfortable to share and talk with us, and let's just have a general chat. So does anybody want to go first, or shall we just have a quick little round of introductions for those who are on the call first, maybe? And let's do that. In fact, let's have a little round robin of everyone who's on the call. So I'm Peter Rising. I'm one of the co-hosts of this channel, along with Azure and Kat, who are also on. Rue, I don't think we'll make it tonight. I think Rue's got a pressing engagement. But let's go from left to right. Let's move over to Stephen. Hey, Stephen.
Hi. How's everybody today?
All
Good.
good.
Hi,
Good.
Stephen.
Hi. My name's Stephen Rose. I'm a 13-year veteran at Microsoft. I own a show called Inside Microsoft Teams. I also do a music podcast with our own Peter Rising at 10-songs.com, where we geek out about music and all that. And I am a mental health advocate here at Microsoft. I do a lot of talks on mental health. I interviewed Will Wheaton about his mental health journey, which I'm happy to share that URL with some folks, but it's super important to me and my life. So it's important that I'm here today. So thanks for inviting me.
Amazing. Kev, do you want to go next?
Yes, hello. I'm Kevin McDonald. I'm the head of practice for Modern Workplace at CPS, and also the co-host of the Grey Hat Beard Princess podcast as well, and a member of the Viva Explorers, just to keep all the things going. So in terms of mental health, I'm going to be honest, I'm one of these people who's been lucky to not directly suffer, but have a lot of kind of close family who've been impacted by mental health, and so kind of sharing more the other side of the journey, but also some of the things I do, because I don't think it's fair to say that none of us suffer. We all kind of go through ups and downs in life as well, and some of the things I've done to try and help that along the way and make sure I'm not one of the people who's suffered too much. I'm also, in terms of my mental health journey, my wife has just dropped it that I need to cook some dinner as well, because my middle son has just rushed off to a cricket match. So apologies for those watching, seeing me moving around a bit. I'm trying to move away from the noise of that too much.
Great multitasking, Kev. Well done. We'll let you get on with that.
Appalling for mental health multitasking, but so ignore that for advice.
Oh, amazing. Al, hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Just literally just sat down, got a cold drink, so ready to relax and have a good conversation. So yeah, my name's Al Eardley. I work at Microsoft. I'm a technical architect in the Microsoft Technology Center, sometimes referred to as the massive toy chest. So I try and demonstrate, how technology can work for people, how clients can implement it, and I guess a large part of that seems to be about hybrid, but also about how you use the tools for mental health. So I've done a lot around Microsoft To Do and how to actually manage tasks and stay sane, because I've done many roles in IT. Probably one of the worst was project manager, which, yes, anxiety, worrying about tasks, getting things done, been there, got the war wounds. So yeah, now I advocate how to use the tools to actually try and stay sane.
Absolutely brilliant. And Azure, freshly back from Puerto Rico.
Yes.
How was your break?
much needed. I think, and part of this mental health thing is, I think this is the second time maybe in my whole entire career that I've fully been able to like disconnect fully from work, and didn't have to worry about checking emails, no clients, no manufacturing suites burning down. And I have to say, it was so nice. Like, I left everything Power Platform at the door. If anybody reached out to me, I was like, I'm on vacation. Let's talk when I get back. Even just like responding to text messages just from friends and whatnot. It was just really nice to be like, you know what, I can do that later. For now, I'm just gonna keep sipping my mojito on the beach. So it was great. So I'm Azure McFarlane. I'm one of the co-hosts for Cloud Conversations, and I work at HSO as a consultant. Previously have worked in like engineering and project management roles as well. So definitely have felt the heat. And even this week, I'm writing a 70-page document for a client. So I'm feeling a little pressured myself.
Oh, well, you're in good company. Good company. And Kat, if anyone needed a break after all you've been doing in the community lately, because you're literally everywhere, it's Kat Greenan. How are you, Kat?
I'm not too bad. Yeah, I'm good. I'm boiling in this heat. My goodness. I've got the worst in my house. It's like the sun belts through, and it's quite sun. Anyway, I should be moaning if it was raining, so never happy. But yeah, my name's Kat Greenan. I'm a Microsoft Solutions Specialist and MVP. I'm also, along with Kev, a Viva Explorer, and I also co-host this podcast with Pete and Azure and Rue.
Amazing. Thanks, Kat. And last for now, but by no means least, is the wonderful Jess White. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. Very warm. And sorry if I keep like ducking. It's because, talking of mental health, I'm puppy sitting at the minute. I don't know if you can see her, but that's Mabel. And she's quite needy. So occasionally I'll have to throw her a ball. But yes, I'm a technical architect and MVP as well. I've got Crohn's disease, which I'm very open about. I also suffer quite heavily with anxiety, take medication for it. So lots of mental health fun, but I also think it's just part of being human. So I don't think there's any shame in sharing any of that. And I'm happy to be here and chatting with you all today. Again, sorry if I get distracted by the dog.
No, this is all good stuff. This is life happening. Sorry, what was that, Kat? I think you might have a bit of a lag again, like you did last time, actually.
No.
No. Oh, she sounds devastated.
I was just saying I would also get distracted by the dog.
Yeah.
It's the show support animal right now. So let's just call him.
Yeah.
She would be an amazing therapy animal. She's lovely.
Yes. I was going to say there are definitely worse things to be distracted by. You know, Teams notifications, email notifications, reminders of pop-ups.
Kids.
Completely. Yeah, I can attest to that one for sure. But yeah, absolutely. But anyway. On that note, we've all introduced ourselves. We've got some people watching. If you're watching along and you want to join us, the link is there, the StreamYard link. Click on it. We'll add you into the chat if you want to come and talk with us. We are very friendly and we won't bite. And what I think would be a really good way to kick off is, does anyone here today have any particular story that they want to share? How your week is going? Or is anyone having a rough week or struggling with anything in particular that you want to share among the group and have a chat about?
So I'm having a busy week, and I have a day off at the end of the week, so going away for the weekend. So it was a busy week last week. It's a busy week this week, and my big concern is getting to Thursday evening and still having loads of things hanging over me that I just can't get out of my head, that I can't relax, can't enjoy the time that I've planned to go away with family and friends. And that's probably the biggest pressure for quite a lot of people at this time of year, is how do you actually make sure that you can relax just for those couple of days that you've booked off, and make sure that you've covered all of the bases and everything is under control.
I'll share some things that I've done that are good. And I suffer from ADD, OCD, and ADHD, as well as some anxiety. So I've dealt within the whole realm of this. And there are kind of three things that I do when I take a long weekend or go on vacation. I went to Hawaii last year for a week. So the first thing is leading up to the trip, everything that was important, I become a huge fan of to do, because I can take things in Teams, I can take things in Outlooks, and I can dump those all into to do. And I've become really vigilant about doing that and putting dates on what's due and really prioritizing it. This is something that has to get done now. This is something that's not that important that can wait or that I can push out. So I think that's the first thing. Number two, and I would tell this to my wife, is I would get up early every morning before everybody else did. I get up at like 7 a.m, go downstairs by the pool and spend an hour doing email, just making sure, and really just not going through it all, but really making sure there was nothing on fire, nothing that would, if I didn't take care of this now when I got back, would really create a poop show for me. And I didn't want that. So spending that hour just sort of going through it and doing all kind of the high level key stuff was really good. But then email was turned off, and on my phone, and there is this feature in Outlook, you can turn off all notifications, and I would turn them off because I knew if it would bing, I would want to take a look at it. And that was my whole thing, is I don't want that to happen. So saying, okay, I'm done. And I told people I will only be checking email once a day. So you may not hear from me for 24 hours. And people were good with that. They respected the boundaries. I, in 2 vacations, have gotten only 1 phone call. And my wife looked at me and she's like, okay, if your phone's ringing, it's got to be really urgent. And it was something really important. Took care of it in about 5 minutes and it was fine. But just doing that, knowing everything that was super important is done, and here's the rest. And the other thing about that is, if the email's too long, I set up rules where I get, if certain people email me, I use a Power App, and it actually, like my boss, and it only if I'm on a 2-line and no one else is included. If that happens, then I get a pop-up, and then that's it. A lot of the emails I'll delete because they were lower importance. And if it was really important, someone will generally get back. But I find triaging before, giving yourself 30 minutes or an hour each morning, and then turning everything else off can really make a huge difference in allowing you to unplug and setting that boundary that is so important. And I look at it this way. I ask so many people to step up. People ask me all the time, hey, I'm going on vacation. Can you cover this? I want to be able to do the same. And why shouldn't I be able to, and expect that they're going to step up and do that for me as I've done for them. And that's sort of the 3 kind of the triangle that I sort of do when I go. And it has really helped me to be in the moment and enjoy that time off with my family, which is so incredibly important.
Absolutely.
The other thing I add to
superb.
that is planning when you get back, to make sure somebody gives you a brief on what has actually happened that is important.
Oh, yeah.
So that you immediately know what you actually have to pick up when you get back as well.
Yeah, and don't book an 8 or 9 a.m. meeting for your day back. Try to clear your morning so you can spend a little time just going through everything and getting caught up. I'll actually tell people, hi, I'm not back till Tuesday, even though I'm back Monday. I'll take that extra
I was going to say,
day, and it's so well worth it.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Book that meeting for 8, 9 a.m. and stop anyone else blocking it out.
Or book focus time.
No, you can just book
Yeah.
focus time or off time. That's fine, but just don't book a meeting for that time. But you're welcome to book that time as out, and I'll do that like in the morning, or just take that extra day off just to allow myself to get caught up. But it really helps, and you don't want to undo all your vacation in one day when you get back.
Yeah. What something that my team encourages, because we work cross-continentally, is to book your outside of working hours off. And then that way people will respect the fact that you are out of office for a certain time. So for me, I know up until, I think my first meeting this morning was at 10 a.m. Yesterday was a holiday that I took off because it was Juneteenth. So the same thing, had my out of office set. My first meeting wasn't until 10 a.m. this morning, and it was really nice. I just took the first hour of my day just to catch up on emails, kind of get an idea of what was going on while I was away. And it works out really nicely. And then that way people aren't trying to get you like first thing when you come back. Because I know for myself, I end up feeling very frazzled when I haven't had that time just to plug in, do a quick skim and say, okay, this is what I know to expect on top of what I knew what I needed to do before I left. Because the one thing over my head was there's this client document that's due next week. Technically, I need to finish it this week. So what else do I need to do on top of that now that I've been out maybe that I might have missed. So just taking that little bit of time to kind of like ease back into it, I really love the idea.
Absolutely
I've
awesome.
changed my mentality about taking time off. I used to always feel guilty about like taking time to myself. And somebody I work with framed it as, use it as a lottery test. If you won the lottery and you didn't go back to work, what would fall over? And as you've had this week off, you can identify those things and put things in place later on to make sure that it doesn't matter when you're away. And if you do go away and, you know, nobody really notices that you're not there, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And it really takes that guilt away for me. If I view it as okay, I might win the lottery tomorrow. They're going to have to live with it. Can I make sure that my team is supported and that they can cope when I'm not there?
And also rest. I think we've talked about this before, Peter, maybe on another episode, but like rest is essential. So vacation is part of, it's supposed to be part of our standard package, you know, of benefits, at least it's supposed to be. And that is in fact part of what we need to be productive people. It's good for the company. It's good for you. Like having to think about work all the time, I think makes me a less engaged person because it just leads to burnout in that sense. So I've been enjoying, like I joined, you know, HSO a couple months ago, and they're really keen on the unlimited PTO. So like when my best friend had her baby last month, like the week before, like she and her husband got her keys like 5 days before the baby was due. And me and her aunt like marched up there and like unpacked the house for them. It was really nice. They were like, go ahead, go help your friend. And I was like, but I actually have a vacation plan. They're like, take the vacation. Everything can wait. Like nothing's that much of a priority. Like we really firmly believe, which is a very different mentality from where I've worked before. It was, there's this expectation, even when you are away, that you're going to be sending emails. You know, I'd wake up in the morning and see emails going out at like, you know, from that are time stamped at 3:00 in the morning from people because we worked at a 24/7, you know, like manufacturing plant. And I think that's just, it's not good. You never get really that rest either if you're constantly plugged in all the time. So I think it's a mind shift set for me as well, because when I joined, I was like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. They're going to say unlimited PTO. And that's not really what it means. It means that I'm going to be expected to like make up the work and do this. And so that's something new for me, because I've felt anxious in the past, like taking time off, because there would always be this expectation that it's not really time off. It's partially there, but not really.
I think when you say rest is important, there's so many forms of rest rather than just taking, you know, holiday and annual leave. It's, you know, do you take that power nap at lunch, or do you just take a couple of hours in the afternoon just to actually, here. Nothing wrong with a siesta or a nap at all.
I'm a napper for sure. I've been known to have one in the afternoon and pick up work a bit later on.
Yeah,
it depends if you have a kind of afternoon workshop, because then a nap goes down badly.
Go on, Kat.
My lag is really bad, but there we go. What about, did anybody's company offer mental health days? Or is it just sick days, or is that not talked about? What's the situation with everybody?
Oh, you're on mute, Stephen.
Or you don't want to say, that's fine.
No, absolutely. No, I work for Microsoft, and we actually have mental health and mental wellness days, and you can take what's called, it's actually encouraged. We get 5 a year. Those are separate from sick days, and you're encouraged to take a mental health day. And I'll add something else that we've done. This is interesting. About 6 months into the pandemic, our management, at least in my org, and I'm on Teams. I work on the Teams product, so I'm in the Teams org on the marketing side. They took a look at how we were working, and they sent an email saying, we're taking a look at you folks. And instead of doing a bunch of hour-long meetings with breaks in between, you're doing 30-minute meetings back to back to back to back, starting as early as 7 a.m. and going as late as 6 o'clock at night, depending on, you know, where people were and things along that line. And they realized that we were doing 5 days worth of work in 4 days. So in our org, they said Fridays are meeting-free days. If you schedule a meeting with anybody in the modern work org, you should not expect for them to accept it. And that is a day where you can get caught up on email. You can take the day off. You can work on a PowerPoint, whatever it is you need to do. It's a good day to get caught up on training, maybe sleep in late, walk while you're doing stuff. But that is the expectation. And it has dramatically changed my mental health and a lot for the folks around me to being less stressed. Now, there are some times when we as a group go, look, Ignite is next week. We've got to meet Friday. We've got to go through this. And that's absolutely fine. And we've all agreed upon that. But having 3 days off and then 4 days on and that back and forth has really, really changed. But we are given 5 mental health days. And if we needed more, no one would ever really chastise you for that, especially after conferences. Like, take a few days off, don't even mark it as anything. You guys take off, most of next week. And they force us. They really are like, you need to take vacation in the next month or two because things we know are going to get nuts in the fall with our conference. They really encourage you to do it or to take long weekends. So we're pretty good about that. And that's something we did 5 years ago was non-existent. This is really something that is newer. And it makes me very, very happy that we are looking at mental wellness much more deeply than we have in the past.
Do you happen to work with Donna Sarkar?
I don't directly, but I know Donna and we're friends, but she's on the engineering side of the house. I'm on the marketing side of the house. So we cross paths occasionally. And I knew her a bit when I was in Windows too, but she's an awesome person. And
she
I have great respect for her.
Yeah, I know she said that her team had been exploring, I think at the beginning of the year, like the first half of Monday was no meetings either. And then Friday as well, either it's like no meeting Friday or like half day, like afternoon is like no meetings whatsoever. And the results have been really great just to allow people not to have to be in meetings all of the time. That makes total sense.
No, it's done a wonders for all of us, I believe.
Yeah, that starting the week with, a Monday morning just to kind of get your head around everything that you need to do and plan the week. I mean, that settles the brain an awful lot.
I agree.
Definitely. We've got something on, Kev. I think I know what you're going to say, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, so Pete and I at CPS, we've, about 2 months ago, I think it's been running now, we've moved to a 9-day fortnight. So it means every other Friday, it's not a no meeting day, it's a day off from there. So there's no expectations on anything you can do. And it is amazing how freeing it's been. I work a lot, I do a lot for the community. I'm a cub leader, I'm a dad of 3 kids. There is very little time I've had for many, many years where I can just say, I can go and do what I want. And having that Friday when my wife's at work, the kids are at school, I've just had days where I've gone, right, I'm going to decide what I'm going to do today. And it's been amazing how mentally freeing it's been and how much better I felt after those long weekends. Because I think even with a no meeting Friday, you still got that weight, you still got that knowledge of all those things you've got to catch up on. But by having it that open day, it's just like, right, I'm definitely not going to do work. And it's been really interesting that there's been no emails come through. No one's tried to put meetings. It's been the sacrosanct day. And it's just cleared my head completely. It's been absolutely fantastic. I've been doing things. I love the Xbox, but never really get time trying to fight the kids off of it. Suddenly, I had a whole day playing Xbox. It was amazing. And I think one of the things I find bad for mental health is kind of over-promising and over-committing. By having a day where I've just said, look, I'm not going to promise anything today. I'm just going to see what I fancy doing. And if I fancy doing a bit of coding, I'll do a bit of coding. If I fancy going for a walk, I'll go for a walk. And it's just been lovely. Really, really made a difference. I don't know how you found it, Pete.
Oh, exactly the same, completely. I mean, last Friday was our other week off, wasn't it? And if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen a picture of me staring at some abstract art in an art gallery. And I took the day with my wife Louise to have a little drive to a lovely area in the country, about 45 minutes drive from where we are, to an art exhibition, because Louise is doing a course in abstract art at the minute, called Find Your Joy, and it was just wonderful. It was nice getting that time with just Louise and I, which is all too rare, because Oliver, my youngest son, who I'm sure most of you know about by now, wasn't with us. He was at his grandparents on Friday. He doesn't attend school, so We don't always get the chance to be away from him, but it was so good. The weather was beautiful. We had a lovely drive. We looked at the paintings. We went to the little cafe, had a sit down, had a lunch out together for the first time in goodness knows how long, which was so great. And then a little walk around the grounds of this beautiful place called Danby Hall. So, and yeah, it's just nice being able to get up on a Friday morning every other week and not have to worry about getting onto a Teams call or writing a document or or doing all those things that you promise to do. And yeah, sometimes I'm getting better at getting more organized with myself, because I'm an overpromiser. I've never been very good at saying no to things. I'm getting better. When I take leave, I'm getting better at turning the phone off and the notifications off. But I'm also a procrastinator. I overpromise things, and then I sort of go around and try and decide which of the many things I've got to do, and I end up doing nothing. And so I'm getting a bit better with that now, with as Stephen was saying before, with to do. But yeah, loving 9-day fortnight. The only one drawback I've had from it so far is that we had a series of public holidays here in the UK recently, with the Queen's Jubilee and a few other things, and we had about 4 or 5 consecutive weeks where we didn't work a 5-day week. And that first 5-day week back was brutal. It was like, I can't believe I've got to work a 5-day week. That's insane.
I feel you
How
on
do
that
customers deal with it? If you're customer facing and you have that Friday off, if they're saying, "Oh, I need a quick call today to talk about this product," or something's gone wrong, or emergencies, how do you deal? Have you had that come up when you've been off? But obviously, not every company has that policy. How would you deal with that?
One of my
Just not respond.
coworkers, I love this. Yeah, in his emails and in Teams, it says my preferred work hours are 10 to 6 Monday through Thursday. Friday is a off day for me, so don't etc. So putting in what your work hours are is another great thing. That way people are not you have to set the expectations, and saying to that person, hey, I normally take off Fridays. I'm happy to do a meeting this Friday because we have a deadline. Or, hey, normally Fridays for me are no meeting Fridays. Can this wait until Monday? I'm happy to prioritize this Monday morning. Don't be ashamed of saying to somebody, hey, those aren't my work hours because I have this, or I got to take my kids to school, or that's my time to do yoga or whatever. Most people be like, oh yeah, no problem. Absolutely. And if they go, look, I really need to meet, then you're making it known. I'm going to prioritize this, but I prefer for this not to become a regular thing. And most folks will actually go, I understand, and be appreciative that you took a Friday to do that meeting. But there's nothing wrong in your signature to say my preferred work hours are 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. Fridays for me are no meeting Fridays, and put that in and see how folks respond. And yeah, there's sometimes you're going to have to break it, but if people understand, it means more that you've taken an exception and that you're doing that.
We trialed this for 3 months initially, right, Kev? And and it just worked so well that we all, when we went to the company offsite a couple of months ago, which Kev and I did a recording together at, which you can find earlier on in the channel, we all voted unanimously that we wanted it to continue and become a permanent thing. And when we announced it officially to the customers and everyone on social, it's been great so far. And we're all using our common sense with it. There's going to be occasions where a customer will just need something on a Friday, but there's arrangements that can be made to accommodate that and give time back. And we've also got a managed services department who I believe, Kev, I think I'm right in saying they're alternating the Fridays, aren't they? So they're getting someone working, to make that work.
They have
so
a rota.
Yeah, there's ways and means of making it work, but loving it.
I think the other thing is similar to what Stephen was saying. We communicate. We've told all our clients involved in the projects that we won't be working Fridays, and it's not we're really sorry. It's we aren't on there, and it's got that buy-in from the very top to kind of back that and say that. It's not like some people are saying it and others are going, yeah, but you can kind of do this and do that. Everyone is aligned. Everyone's the same, and everyone agrees on there. And that backing is what helps make it happen. And being clear and communicating. I think there's many times you kind of feel nervous about saying these things to people, whereas the actual reality when you say it is not as bad as you think it's going to be. So get that communication in.
Absolutely.
I think that also goes for, when you're committing to things, protecting your time as well, and actually saying, look, I can't do a meeting then, I've got time booked in to do that 70-page document that you have to do for a client. And it always works well when you go, if I'd committed the time to you, would you want me to sacrifice it to somebody else or give it to somebody else? So if you need to, always just sort of say, respect what I've already committed to other people, rather than assuming that I will just prioritize your time over everything else that's already agreed.
Little question. I mean, a lot of you in very privileged positions, having flexible working hours or reduced weeks. But if you could give one piece of advice to someone who found that they were struggling with their mental health and coping with their workload at the moment, they needed to have a negotiation with their line manager or their work who weren't as flexible, what piece of advice would you give to them?
Visible work. Make the work that you have to do, the things that you're being asked to do, visible. To do is brilliant for that. If you've got planner tasks and you've got personal tasks and emails that you're getting things in that you need to do, make it visible so that you can actually show, okay, these are all the things that I really should do this week, so that you actually have a conversation around that workload. And then you can talk about how much capacity you have to actually deliver on those items. Do you have lots of committed meetings or activities that mean that you have, we only have a finite number of hours each every day. Planning how you use those hours is essentially what you need to ask somebody else to do for you if you don't have the capacity to do everything. And that's a very powerful conversation to be able to hold with, your manager or a stakeholder, and just to say, all right, I'll do what you're asking, but what do you want me to sacrifice instead? What do you not want me to do instead?
Yeah, or the other part of that is, hey, I can't do all of these at an A level. I'll get them all done, but what has to be done at this highest A 110% level? What's more of a B, and what can I just sort of give you the bare minimum on and drop in, and we can build from there? Because not everything, and I appreciated our CVP saying this, not everything needs to be this A level work. There are some things that it's fine to do at B or C level, depending on where it's at. So it is, and I agree completely with Al saying, hey, one of these has to fall off my plate. Can I do it? Is there somebody else I can pass this off to? Asking the team, hey, does anybody have any free things? One of the things that I do in our team meeting is each person has to put 3 things they're working on and then something that they could use help with. And that has been a game changer for us. And hey, here's what I'm working on for visibility. Somebody could use help. I need some help with this. Or a lot of people say, oh, I can help you with that, or I can do that. That has been huge. Plus, it really limits who's taking how much time on that. That, as long as you stick to those bullet points. And that's been great as well. Hey, I can help you with that, or I have some extra cycles, or I can connect you with someone who I know who can really help you with that. So sharing that with your team can make a big difference. I'm happy to share that template out if folks like it. But that was a big change for our team in getting assistance on things and not have to shoulder things yourself, and creating awareness of what you're doing. Because people say, oh, I know someone on this team. Are you working with them? No, I'm not. Can you connect me? And it's just that visibility, and not making it like you're connect with your boss, but really just visibility for everybody else on the team on what you're working on and what's important.
I think that's really valuable in terms of being transparent about your vulnerability as well, especially if you've got more junior members in your team. Like being able to be very open about, I can't do all of this. This is what I can handle, but I need help. That phrase of I need help is so hard for some people to say because it's scary. You feel like you're not living up to standard, or you're going to be letting someone down. So I think it's really, really powerful having that level of visibility, like across the board.
And you're right, it's hard to say, but there's other ways to kind of get people more comfortable with it. Having, we work in a world where we can collaborate. And, Stephen, I love your statement of, do you need 100% or less? What level do you need? Because for those people who procrastinate, oh, it's not good enough, or I just spend a little bit more time on it. That's a great way to kind of get to the point where you know what time you need to commit. But also, if you ask people, can you have a look at this for me? Can we just go through this and give me your thoughts on it? That's a great way to actually get to share the load a bit, but also to get somebody go, yeah, that's great. You don't need to do anything else on that, which can actually really help to kind of draw a line under something and go, oh, okay, I thought I was going to have to do a whole lot more. Those 70 pages feel like they need, a whole lot more work being done on each one. And for somebody else to go, no, that's brilliant, that's just what's needed, can really save a lot of time as well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how do people deal with? Because I feel like we're a group that if we want to get it done at 110% or 100% every time, A, B, or C level, how do you deal with that perfectionism and getting around that? Because C level quality I know for some of us are probably like, no, that's not what we do. We always want to bring like top level A game for it.
I don't think it's turning in C-level quality work, but I think it's how much do you need? Does this need to be the most highly polished thing in the world, or do you just want a slide that says, hey, this is what's going on? Or do you need a slide plus graphs? Or does this have to be super polished and look great because it's going to get in front of 50 people? And that's really what I mean. I don't mean to reduce the quality of the work, but is it this, how good do you need it at that point? And I found people go, no, I just need an outline. I just need to know what you're thinking and how things land. And that I can do in a few hours, as opposed to a slide that has to have extra data, an appendix that's going to be passed on to other people that I won't be sharing, that I won't be able to give that to. That's a big difference from a basic slide to something that is self-contained to something that is major decisions and dollars will be spent on that. And that's really what I mean, is understanding your audience, what purpose this is going to serve and what the outcome is, will help to set that up. Or, okay, so you just need a basic outline of kind of what I'm thinking and where we want to go with this, and we'll dig in on this deeper later. Yes, great. Okay, that I can do in a few hours. So I think it's important to understand, is it going to be that A-level type thing, more of a B or more of a C? And I don't mean diminishing the quality of the work. It's just the fit and finish and how much detail is needed. Is it a summary, etc., or just a catch up? We just want to know where you're at with this. Oh, I can do that. Great. Here's 10 lines and you're good. But sometimes digging in further can help to do that, or say, hey, I've got all these things going on this week. What's the bare minimum of what you need? Because I can give that to you and do it really well. If we could follow up a week later with the rest of it, will that work? And 50% of the time they'll say, yeah, fine. Sometimes they'll go, no, I have to have this whole thing. I need it. And then you've got to sit down and go to those other stakeholders and go, hi, I got to fire. I got to put this out. What can wait? And work with those folks. And again, when you do that to them, they're going to do it with you, and it's going to make everybody's life easier. And you're leading by example.
As a TA, I find it as a really good way of indicating where there's a teaching opportunity. Like, I should not be the ivory tower. Here is your designs, and this is why we're doing it. If somebody needs it, not necessarily as fast, that means that I can sit with someone and go, okay, you're going to be me for a day. This is the project. This is what we need from it. Yeah. You can keep checking in with me as you go if you're getting unsure about anything, but I want you to have a go at this. I will lead you as much as I can. But it means that I don't have to do that work then. They get a chance to grow and try out a role that they might not have tried out otherwise. And whoever needs this piece of work gets a good quality piece of work at the end. So it's a really nice way of taking stuff off my plate, but helping others grow in their own needs.
I think I've found myself lately in this space where I'm not new to Power Platform, but new to doing it in a more official capacity, like as a consultant. And especially like at HSO, Power Platform is a bit of a startup. So it's newer than anything else. And so sometimes it's us making the rules where there aren't any established rules. And so recently I've been put on a technical capability team, which is supposed to be like shaping and defining, like, how we do Power Platform internally, like coding standards, et cetera, et cetera. I had to come up with like my Q2 plan of what I'm going to deliver. And I have to tell you, like, I stressed about this for like a week. I don't know what the technical director is looking for. And I couldn't sleep about it. And the day before I was like, okay, I'm just going to get up at 5 a.m. and we're going to do it. And I presented it and he's like, this is more than enough. What were you stressed about? I don't know. Just that idea of that it wouldn't be enough. Like I didn't know the shape and what it was supposed to take. And I've done that a few times now, just not knowing like the expectation. Same thing. Was building something for a demo and was thinking of all the possible, like how robust did it need to be? And my boss was like, no, sure. It's a demo. I'm going to click one button and it needs to do this one thing. Don't worry about all the conditions that may need to happen in order for this to be a fully like functional product. Like when we talk about MVP, it's literally minimum thing. I'm going to press a button and we're not going to do outside that box. And sometimes tailoring those expectations for myself, where it's having to anticipate all the other things that may need to come into play, has been a challenge for me. So now I'm having to ask, like, what are you really looking for? How much of this do I need to do? Or is it really this big when I'm thinking this big?
I can completely empathize with that. Imposter syndrome, how good do I need to be? When I joined Microsoft about a year ago, I was like, right, so what do I need to deliver on these sessions with these amazing clients, massive amounts of money being talked about? And I was like, do I need to spend 6 days writing this up, or do I need to spend half an hour writing it up? And I think that the key there is asking for examples, asking for example outputs. Do you have any indication of what you're actually expecting from me, so that you're asking for those expectations to be set? Because otherwise, as you say, if you don't know, is it, a bullet point, or just a whiteboard, or is it, a 70-page document that you need to write, you're going to be really stressing about that. I know I would be stressing about that massively if I didn't know what I needed to actually deliver. And I think, that's something that a lot of people aren't so good at, is having the confidence just to go, look, I don't quite know what you want of me. Can you actually give me some examples? Can you show me, an example of what you want? Do you have any templates? Do you have anything that will help me understand when I'm done, so that I can actually show it to you? Will you review it for me, prior to it being done? And all of that will really kind of reduce that kind of the unknown, which, let's face it, if you suffer from anxiety, the unknown is the worst thing in the world. That's going to wake you up at 3 a.m, 100 miles an hour. Oh no, I don't know. It could be this, that, or the other. So
did you have a camera in my bedroom this morning?
You would be really scared if I said yes to that, wouldn't you?
Definitely woke up at 2:30 this morning, and my mind was just kind of going. I'm like, it's okay, just go back to sleep.
So one of the things that
blew. Oh, sorry.
So I was going to say, just on that point, at 3 o'clock in the morning, one of the things that at Microsoft we have is subscriptions to Headspace. And they have meditations that you can do at kind of 3 o'clock in the morning for exactly that. So it's worth looking at what tools are out there to help you kind of relax at those points in the day where you just kind of like, oh, how do I cope with that? Yeah, worth looking at things like Headspace to help at those moments. Sorry, Jess.
No, it's me interrupting you. I was just going to say, one of the more junior engineers I work with blew my mind the other week there, but just the level of maturity that they were coming from. Because it's been pointed out to them, they're at that magpie stage where like everything's interesting and they want to learn it all, but they're getting burnt out because they can't learn it all, and then they're worried about themselves. They get into imposter syndrome. It just turns into a cycle. And we were talking about a very specific thing in our domain, and he went, "Oh, I don't know about that. I would like to learn about it. Hang on, do I need to know that?" And it just, I was like, I'd never thought of asking that question. That's genius. There's so many things I'm learning about that actually I don't need to know about yet. I can learn about it later down the line, or if it comes up as a problem. And it's just de-scoped all the stuff he was learning right down. One little question, so powerful.
That's a good one, because I have a notebook that sits right here, and when somebody mentioned it, I'm like, I'll write it down and I will learn about it. And then this list just keeps growing and growing. Obviously, you don't have the time to learn it all. I feel like I'm one of the first people to always ask, like, or preface it, which this is probably a dumb question, but like asking questions, and people are like, there's no dumb questions, just dumb people. Kidding. But I would rather err on the side of caution of knowing too much or getting extra information than not having enough. And I think the question that your junior engineer was asking, like, do I even need to know this, I think is a really pivotal one. And I'm putting that one in my arsenal now to be like, okay, well, I've got this box of things that I'd like to learn, but is it necessary to the task at hand, or is it necessary right now? Because that does end up putting you in a space where it's like, okay, it's another thing on the to-do list, but how much time do you really have to learn the new thing? And I know for me, when I get into something, I really get into it. And it's how much time do you sacrifice, like learning the new thing that may take you, 50 miles away from where you truly need to be. It might be fun, but also you probably need that sleep too, or, that walk.
Yeah. I also find that a lot of people are concerned if they say, I don't know, but I could find out.
I do that a lot.
that they'll lose credibility if they say they don't know. And I'm like, no, you won't. Just say, hey, I don't know, or that's not my area of expertise, but I will find out for you. Let me write that. Let me take that as an action item. We'll get an answer. And if we say it 5, 6 times, I don't care. I would rather do that, and they will respect it or I'll say, send that to me as an email that I can forward.
Yep.
Put all the detail in it. I'll forward it to some folks who do know, and we'll get you the answer on that. They don't care if you know it or not. They just want to know what the answer is and don't mind waiting. And there is nothing wrong with saying that. And it is taken, because I teach my team for EBCs, for executive briefings with super large customers. I'm like, you say the wrong thing and they decide to spend $30 million and it doesn't work the way you just told them. That's bad. Better to say, I don't know, but I know the people who do, and I'll find out. And that's where relationships are currency in helping you with that. It's knowing people who do know these different things and being, I'm part of many people's networks for that. And many people are part of my network for that. So surround yourself with the smart people, but don't be afraid to say that. There's nothing wrong with it. And you will not lose credibility. And so many people feel they were.
No,
I totally agree with that.
I respect people who say, I don't know, but I'll find the answer, right?
I don't know, but I'll find out. Not just I don't know, but I'll find out.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That pivotal second part is you'll get the answer somewhere. But I when people, instead of like just flushing out an answer, even if they don't know it, I would rather them take the time to be like, I don't know. Yeah. But somebody else may let me put you in contact with them, or, I'll send you an article when I find the answer. And I really like that a lot.
Yeah. And the field that we all work in, Microsoft, is so ever changing that it's impossible for us to know everything. So there's really nothing wrong with saying that at all, is there?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Al.
You said exactly what I was thinking, Pete. So there's some telepathy going on there, but yeah, I wouldn't trust anyone who said that they knew everything. Not in the Microsoft space, not the current versions of everything, because it's, we've all built careers in slightly different areas. We all have different knowledge. We all have a different understanding. Nobody knows everything.
Mm-hmm. We've got a Teams like group chat across like Power Platform and Dynamics like F&O and whatnot. And the whole thing is just people asking questions about like, I thought it was this, but is it this? A customer is looking for this. And people will just like throw their answers in there, like put documentation as proof in there. It's really nice to have this comprehensive like place, like an FAQ. And then because some of us are MVPs, like if somebody in the group doesn't know it, we're gonna just be like, hey, we're gonna throw it out on the DL, the distribution list, or let me refer to a group chat that nobody else, like people here may not be a part of. As recently as like half an hour ago, a colleague was like, have you ever seen this error in Power Apps before? And I was like, I have never seen this in my life. Let me just put something out on Twitter. And some people were like, nope, never seen it. It might be related to the outage that's happening, but having more of like this arsenal of like, or an army of people really is very helpful. That doesn't have to be necessarily within your organization either, that you can refer to. See so many things on Twitter too. I love Twitter so much because it doesn't matter if you're actually friends with the person or not. You can put an inquiry out and people are following hashtags, like you're bound to get an answer for something, which I find this community really, really valuable for that too.
And if you do find something that you want to follow up on later, send it to To-Do. You can, on most of the phones, you can send tweets to To-Do to actually then have it in a Twitter list to follow up later on.
Okay, so for people who want to learn how to do more of this really efficient, more functionally utilization of To-Do, can we put something in the show notes? If you guys have any recommendations for links for videos, if people want to check this out.
I can put a link into a session I did around how to use To-Do to help your mental health. Why To-Do is good for your mental health. So I'll drop that in.
And the nice thing is we're integrating it into Outlook and other products. I now have it where I just drag an email into To-Do and then just add the date I need to get back to it. And it's a great way to remember. Also in Teams, and I did this as a video last week, where in Teams you could say, send this to me as an email or remind me about this later, that there's other things you can do, or mark as unread in Teams if you're not ready to deal with that message then. So there's some great stuff on both ends, or add as a To-Do, which you can do pretty well too. So yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff. Al's like right on the money with that one.
Phil's just saying in the chat, actually, he's mentioning Starla Hansen, who we had a great chat with the other week. Kat and I, actually, I think it was, talked to Starla, and he has some great tips on on digital well-being and controlling your notifications to maximize your downtime. So well worth checking out. We'll try and find Stala's session and add that in there as well, because he's well worth a listen to. Awesome stuff. So yeah, we've been talking for close to 50 minutes. We've had a really good debate, and we've lost a couple of our participants. Kat's had some technical problems, and Kev had to go and do some dad responsibilities, I think, wasn't it? So
and I have a meeting in about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna.
And you've got to drop now as well, Stephen. So
yes.
Thank you. So, do you know, it's funny because people might be confused that you're coming up as cloud conversations in the chat, and that's because if anyone's wondering why, it's because we share this StreamYard with 10 songs, and we're just logged in with that branding at the minute. So Stephen's actually logged in as an admin to that. So so if you that latest message is from Stephen, not from one of the cloud conversations hosts. So there you go.
Awesome.
But
thanks everybody. This is great stuff, and yeah, keep it going. Keep having these conversations. It's so incredibly important for people to hear this and know they're not alone, and be an advocate for someone. Find somebody who has, different issues, and be there for them, and have them be there for you, and call them out. Hey, how are you feeling today? How are you doing? Are you feeling overwhelmed? And have that genuine conversation with them, and vice versa. It works both ways, and it can make a huge difference for people. So
I can attest to that, my friend, because you did that for me not a week ago. You sensed that I wasn't quite right, and you reached out to me, and it meant the world to me, and I felt so much better for our chat. So thank you, my friend.
Of course, yeah, but that's what it's all about. Hey, haven't heard from a while, or how you doing, or know this week is a stressful week for you, and people do that for me, and I try to do that for others, and it just makes a world of difference in going, hi, how are you managing this? Is your medication up to date? Are you seeing someone for help for that? Are you talking about this? Or has anything changed in your life? All of those things can throw your emotional and mental and well-being state into a tizzy. So it's really good to take a look at all those different things, and sometimes it takes somebody else to step back and call that out for you, because I get too close to it sometimes, and I think we all do. So
it's true. I had a call. We did a recording a couple weeks ago, and something I said in it, a colleague of mine was watching the episode, and he reached out after it aired. He's like, "Are you okay? Like, let's have a 15-minute catch up." And I was like, "How did you pick up?" He's like, something just felt a little off. And when I stepped back, and I was like, actually, I haven't been feeling like myself lately, and I really appreciate the check-in, because like you said, sometimes you get really in the thick of it, and you don't know how to get out, but you also don't recognize that these things are really making an impact on you too.
I think it's also letting people know that they don't have to talk if they don't feel like it. Just like, you're there and you can see that something's wrong, but if you're not ready to talk about it, at least know you're not alone in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's lots of different ways to communicate. Tonight, we've got some people live on here. We've got some people in the chat. We've hopefully got some people just watching, and people will catch up on it later. And there's different ways to reach people, and it doesn't always have to be done in the same way.
I've dropped a link into the closing keynote from Scottish Summit this year. That was Donna Sarker doing a session on mental health in IT, which is well worth watching as well.
Oh, I need to catch up on my Scottish Summit. Definitely. I've not watched any of the sessions yet. I had serious FOMO for not being there. It was awful not being there. But maybe next time in 2024. But anyhow, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been amazing, and I definitely want to do it again. Thank you all for joining. I will have to wind down myself, because I've got to go and do some dad duties. Little Oliver has a very, very tight routine, and I'm due to start doing his sort of bed and bath routine in about 6 minutes from now, and he will not be happy if I'm not there, so better get to that. But Jess, Al, Azure, Stephen, and for Kev and for Kat as well, who left us a bit earlier. Thank you so much. The conversation will continue. We'll definitely do this again. There's so much more we can talk about. I think we've only just scratched the surface. Anyone got any final burning issues that they want to say before we wrap this one up?
Just thank you, Peter, for arranging this. This was really good.
Agreed.
It's an absolute pleasure. But on that note, we shall wind this up. Look out for us doing this again. We'll definitely do it again. And don't suffer in silence. Reach out. Nothing's so bad that it can't be made better by sharing it with somebody that you know or love and trust. So never suffer in silence. There's always somebody there to listen. And talking really is the best medicine. So take care all, and we will see you again very, very soon on Cloud Conversations. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.